Now, a lot of people will know you as the former CEO of Mixit, and you said off air earlier that you get asked often if you would do it all again, knowing what you know now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's actually almost 4 years ago since we bought Mixit, and just almost 3 years since I left Mixit. I was only there for a year. And I'm not sure how Mixit's doing nowadays, but some people, feel maybe that wasn't the best investment ever. And I must be honest, firstly, Mixit's the most successful web application to ever come out of the continent of Africa. It's something that all South Africans should be proud of, and we were very lucky to get our hands on it. I still believe that, the path that we were traveling was a good path, and the way we were going to get there was the way we were going to get there. I wish I had a little bit more time to kind of give it a go and prove to myself whether South Africans had the ability to compete with the likes of WhatsApp. But in effect, I believe Mixit was WeChat, and WeChat found a way to compete with the big American giants. It wasn't squashed, but it managed to pivot from this world of feature phones into smartphones, and Mixit had that opportunity. So would I go back and do it again, all over again? I absolutely would.
Okay. And now Project Isizwe, how's that going at the moment? And obviously you're having a lot of success up in Tshwane. How's the rollout going for other parts of SA?
Well, Project Isizwe is like a rocket, right? It's a non-profit, and it's how I've slowly got back into the game to rebuild my confidence, I guess. But the idea is everyone in South Africa should be within walking distance of free Wi-Fi. It should be like bus stops or water and electricity. City of Tshwane is now far and away the biggest public municipal Wi-Fi network on the continent of Africa, far away the biggest in the country, leading the way. By 2017, they'll have attained their goal of everyone within walking distance. And we've managed to expand now into the Siki in the Eastern Cape. The Department of Agriculture is doing a pilot for the Grootfontein College. We're doing some stuff in KZN. Hopefully we're doing some more stuff in Gauteng and Northern Cape. We're even doing some stuff here in the Western Cape. So I think Project Isizwe has become much bigger than I thought it would be, and hopefully kind of gives a good example of how the private sector can work with the public sector.
I mean, you're based in the Western Cape. Why is that sort of not at the top of your list of priorities? I mean, there were rumors a while back about Stellenbosch being the first town in South Africa to have full Wi-Fi. What happened to that?
Yeah, it was actually whilst I was at Mixit that the Stellenbosch free Wi-Fi project started. And like I said, I left about 6 months after we got it off the ground. I left Mixit, and it kind of became an orphan. Nobody was really interested in. After we started Project Isizwe, I tried to re-engage the municipality, but there wasn't a lot of enthusiasm to actually run with it. So I ended up back in Pretoria. I'm from Pretoria, and the nice thing about being from Pretoria is that everywhere else in the world is awesome. But I found myself back there, and the great people, and I met an amazing mayor and city manager and group CIO, and these guys were willing to roll the dice. But not just that, they could see the benefit of internet access as a basic service. And some people think it's sexy. I think some people in some municipalities might think it's too much innovation. They should be focusing on the basics. But I can't see something that's more useful for getting back to basics than providing people with the internet so they can find jobs, they can get an education, find online healthcare. So hopefully we'll get some more traction in the Western Cape, but in the meantime, almost everything's happening in Gauteng.
There's obviously a demand for this, in this sector. What other areas for sort of aspiring entrepreneurs, what areas should they be focusing on? What excites you the most about the future of South Africa?
Generally I'm bullish about the future just because there's so much opportunity. But in the tech space, fintech is a big opportunity. My most favorite company in South Africa at the moment is SnapScan. It used to be Mixit Money, funny enough. When we were at Mixit, we started it, and then it spun out, became SnapScan. I think it's game changer. It's revolutionizing mobile payments. But for me, because I'm exposed now to the government a lot more, the really exciting stuff is where you can use technology to help the government solve its problems in a cheap way. So we've already started a pilot with the City of Tshwane, funny enough, where we've developed an Uber-type app for the police. So you can report any crime. All the police cars in your vicinity get a notification on the dashboard, they accept the ride, and it takes your response times from 2 minutes 38 seconds to 11 seconds. Now that's just using technology in a very efficient way, very frugal way, and making the city's assets work better for the citizens. And for every one of those applications, there's 100 other opportunities where young techies in South Africa, young programmers, youngsters who want to make a difference and make a buck, can get together with the government and solve the problems.
So what you're saying is don't let the crime get you down, turn it into a work opportunity.
Yeah, every time I see a problem, I see an opportunity.
Okay. Ellen, final question. I'm sure you've heard that our CEO resigned recently. I mean, what's your opinion on the online media space and the future of it?
Well, an organisation like Media24 plays a very important role in keeping our independent media healthy. So, I was an early investor, or I was the angel investor, in fact, in Daily Maverick. So I'm on the record as being a big supporter financially as well as verbally for independent news. And I think obviously the internet's the future. Do I think there's a business model for it? It's difficult to find a way to really pay the bills like they used to in the old days. We're actually launching a business today, while announcing a business called Herotel. Before we can get into the online world and start to solve the problems for online business models in South Africa, we need to get more people on the internet. So, on the one hand, we're trying to do it with the government, providing free Wi-Fi for poor communities. On the other hand, we're launching a new business called Herotel, which is to actually provide an alternative to ADSL. So if you're somewhere in the country, you just want some fast broadband into your house, you should be able to call someone, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a fixed line. So I think, for me, we're a little bit ahead of the game in the online space here. We think we're like America. We're not like America because we don't have the broadband speeds, we don't have the prices, and until then, I think the opportunity still lies in broadband.